San Antonio is rich in aviation history, both military and civilian. Home to Fort Sam Houston, Randolph Air Force Base, Kelly Airfield, and Stinson Airport. Stinson was established in 1915 and is the second oldest continuously operating airport in the United States. One of San Antonio's favorite sons and famous aviators, Tex Hill, took his first flight at Stinson, then known as Winburn Field. Tex graduated from San Antonio Academy and went on to join the American volunteer group known as the Flying Tigers. In 1942, he became an ace and continued an outstanding flying career until his retirement here as commander of the Texas Air Guard. It made sense to relocate the Tex Hill Wing to Stinson. Wing leader Darren Bond tells us how that came to be.
Tex Hill, after retirement, lived in San Antonio, very, very well known in San Antonio. I never met Tex, but everybody I talked to that did and met him said he was just a really, really nice man and had an amazing story to tell. I got involved with a group of the Commemorative Air Force called the Tex Hill Wing. When I got involved, they were in Hondo, Texas. They had moved from Fredericksburg. The wing went through some hard times financially and otherwise, and the leadership positions opened up, and I got involved in a leadership role, and we decided to move the Tex Hill Wing to San Antonio. It just made a lot of sense. We fit very well into the plans for the Stinson Airport. San Antonio leadership is trying to turn that airport into a real community airport with community service type organizations like ours, with museums like you see out there now, with educational opportunities and Civil Air Patrol. So we fit well right into what San Antonio leadership wanted to do with that airport. So we decided to move. And it was a leap of faith because we didn't really have any money. We didn't have a hangar to move into. We had an airplane that really didn't apply to Tex Hill. When the Tex Hill Wing started focusing on Tex Hill and Tex Hill's story, people started listening. They started getting interested. When we made the move to San Antonio, where Tex Hill had an enormous impact on people, not only during his career, but well after his career. We had two of Tex Hill's relatives become members of the group. We have inherited a S&J Texan, similar to a T-6. This would have been the airplane that Tex Hill trained in when he went to flight training in the Navy. So it fits right in with his story. And now we've got our sights on a P-40 and we've got our sights on a P-51. Anything that Tex Hill flew and had a significant impact in, we want those airplanes, and we're going to tell his story in flight. Another little secret we stumbled on. I didn't expect this, I did not plan it, it kind of just fell in my lap, but it starts with one young man on the south side of San Antonio who was troubled. And troubled being that he didn't know really what he was going to do in life. His opportunities were pretty small. His window was pretty small. His dad, who worked at the airport out there, came to me, and he had watched us working on airplanes and that sort of thing. We had a really good group of guys, and he said, "Mr. Bond says, I have a son, a teenage son, and I'm concerned about this young man. He doesn't really have any direction. He doesn't have any mentors." I said, "Can I bring him out here and let him work with your guys? You know, give him a little experience, turning wrenches and that sort of stuff on it." I said, "Sure, bring him out." Well, he brought his son out, and when I first met this young man, his appearance, and he had long hair that was in a ponytail, and his appearance was not real positive or professional. His demeanor was such, he didn't really know how to interact with people or be polite, but he loved what we were doing. And this young man, he stayed a whole day. He was helping however he could, and it was probably 2 or 3 days later, I said, and his name is Zero, X-E-R-O is this young man's first name. I said, "Zero, do you want to go for an airplane ride?" And I turned and looked at Old Yeller, and I put that young man in the back seat of Old Yeller, the 1941 S&J, and we went for a life, and forever his life was changed. We landed, and he looked at me and said, "Mr. Bond, that's the best thing I've ever done." He said, "Will you take me to get a haircut?" I said, "Yes, I will." So from that point on, he has just really grown and developed, and this young man, over a period of 2 years now, has become a real leader. The neat thing about that one experience is it was like turning on the faucet. Once we offered that opportunity, that young man, more people just like him started walking in the door. And the stories are all different, but all the stories are of young men that needed mentorship, they needed some direction, they needed someone to help them in life, progress from where they are to who they're going to be as adults. And that has turned into the Tex Hill Wing Cadet Program.
The Tex Hill Wing is unique and special. Under direction of Wing Leader Darren Bond, Cadet Advisor Jeff Schmidt, and over 100 volunteers, they have created opportunities for disadvantaged young people and attracted the attention and respect of the Commemorative Air Force.
Last fall, I took over the cadet program as the cadet advisor. We're kind of building our own program here where we have our own cadet leader, and then we also have an executive officer and squadron adjutant, if you want to call it a squadron, cadet adjutant. And he handles a lot of the rosters and paperwork and that, the same as any other unit's adjutant. We have 28 cadets in the program, and but on any given Saturday, depending on the events, we can have close to 20. And it really is the coolest clubhouse that you could possibly ask for anybody to come out to. Between working on planes and riding in planes, every cadet has gotten a ride in Old Yeller here, which is behind me. So if they're interested in aviation, this is a great place to start. Today I spent about 10 minutes talking with one of the cadets who's trying to decide which military academy she wants to go to. And she sought me out because I went to the Air Force Academy, so she was asking the differences between Annapolis and being a Marine fighter pilot, being an Air Force fighter pilot, and the differences there. So there's a wealth of information here just from all the colonel members, and I think it's fantastic.
Meet Zero, Gabriella, and Cameron, three of the outstanding cadet corps leaders here at Tex Hill.
My first day here at the Tex Hill Wing was, I want to say about 2.5 years ago, about 2 years ago now. It was the middle of summer, and my father pointed out over here, "Hey, come look at these old airplanes, and just come look at these old trainers." And started wandering around the hangar, and it's when I met Mr. Bond, and he introduced me to everything. My first time that I had an interest in aviation, I was in elementary. And I would watch a lot of old combat footage from World War II, especially a lot of bomber footage, and that just cemented a bit of my passion for planes and the history behind them, how they work, how does a metal machine take off into the sky. The coolest thing that I've done here so far is I want to say the pilot training. I've had the amazing opportunity to have to go through a flight school training and get my private pilot's license. And I've been working on that for about 1.5 years now, trying to pass my written test. And I guess that's one of the coolest things, opportunities that I've gotten.
I started being interested in aviation when I read some books called. About a character called Biggles. He's a fiction, a character that starts in World War I and goes all the way through World War II. So I started being interested in aviation after I read those books, and then I got interested in Civil Air Patrol, CAF, and different organizations. They got me more interested in aviation. I have been to one air show. That was the Fort Worth Alliance Air Show. That was when I first saw the Blue Angels, and I decided I wanted to fly fighters for them. So I am currently deciding between two different academies, the Air Force Academy and the Naval Academy. I know I want to serve. I'm not exactly sure in what branch. They both have the degrees I want and the job I want, so we're trying to figure that out right now. Commemorative Air Force has given me a lot of opportunities to do things I'd never be able to do otherwise. So marshalling aircraft, running power cart, all that good stuff, getting to touch a real live World War II aircraft. That's something I think no other organization would be able to provide. So.
I grew up with my grandparents. My mom was never really around, or my dad. I was raised mostly, I had a father figure of my uncle. I spent most of my years with my uncle. My grandparents helped me through school ever since elementary. They helped me guide myself in the right direction and stay out of trouble on the streets. I'm a senior in high school in South Sang High School. I wasn't really much of the ideal student. I was always failing, never really was in class. And I got referred to the Tex Hill wing from a friend. We had a similar experience when we were growing up, but overall it overcome when we joined the Tex Hill wing. Ever since I started the Tex Hill wing, I was out of place. I didn't know what to do. I didn't like talking to people. I was mostly to myself. But after a while, I met some of the colonels here, and they brought me out of my shell. And that was around 3 years ago. Now I'm sitting inside Old Yeller, at the North American T6 or SNJ from the Navy. And I can say this is the best thing I've ever have done in my life. I can't do it without the Tex Hill wing. It is my family, my friends, and all of the above. Try to do, I want to get my MP for every category of airplane, which is turbine, jet, and radio. My main focus is on radio engines because the dying art of radio mechanics on warbirds is getting lower and lower by the years. Soon, most of the warbird mechanics are not going to be here, and it's my job to maintain these warbirds as much as I can. Working with Zero and the other cadets is a fun activity. We're all like brothers and sisters, some more than others, best friends. Basically, we're like a family. We all hang out, we love to do what we do. We teach each other everything that we don't know. With me, I'm one of the senior mechanics that I could say with the cadet program. Zero is our public speaker, and every cadet has their own personality and their own talents. Mine's mostly mechanics, so I'm hanging around John Schatz in the hangar, working with him, seeing what I can do to improve.
As of mid-May, Zero will step down as cadet commander to pursue academic opportunities. Gabriella has decided to attend the engineering honors program at Texas A&M, and Cameron will take over as cadet commander.
Join the Tex Hill wing. We're going to have fun every time you show up.